Welcome to 839 East 19th Street. This is a 2-bed, 1-bathroom condominium apartment in the heart of Midwood, Brooklyn. There is a common courtyard, a laundry room, and live-in super here, all for the price of $500,000. What is a seller's concession and how can you use it to benefit you when you're buying or selling in New York? A seller's concession is a credit or incentive given to the buyer from the seller at the closing. Essentially, a buyer will get money back at the closing table off the price. There are a few different scenarios where you can use a seller's concession. The first one is if you are a buyer that needs help with closing costs. Essentially, you'll roll in your closing costs into the purchase price, and then at closing, you receive that money back for your closing costs. So for example, let's say you're purchasing a home that is $900,000 and you need up to 6%, which is what the bank allows you to do if you're financing, $50,000 for closing costs. You will be closing at $950,000, and at the closing table, the seller gives you back $50,000. Now, this is very helpful for buyers that need the extra money. They can afford the mortgage, they can get the loan, but they don't necessarily have enough for both closing costs and a down payment. This works well for buyers. The only caveat is that the house must appraise for that higher value. Another scenario that mostly benefits the seller is when you have a property that cannot move at the price that you need it to. However, the board will not let you sell it for less. In this scenario, you will go into contract for a higher price that will pass the board, but you will close at a lower price, and whatever is left over, the buyer will get back at closing. In this scenario, and in most scenarios for sellers, the caveat is they do have to pay the closing cost on the price that is the contract. So it is a little bit of a benefit if you need to get the place sold, but you will be paying more in closing cost. The third scenario is new development. And this is where you are most likely to see sellers' concessions. New developments usually don't like lowering the price. They rather give more concessions and sell at a higher price because they have a lot to sell. So they will offer, instead of a large price reduction, closing cost concessions. Because the closing costs for new development are higher for a buyer, there are things that they incur, like transfer taxes and the sponsors' attorney's fees. But you can ask for a plethora of things, including 2 years, 1 year of common charges paid, supers units, extra storage if they have amenities, to name a few. In a city like New York, where closing costs are in co-ops 2 to 3%, and even more in houses and condos, and up to 6% in new developments, having a seller's concession and that sort of incentive can make or break a deal. If you have any questions on seller's concessions and how it may benefit you, if it can work for you, as always, reach out. I'm here to help.